Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Buster's Book Reviews. Now I done did this one once, but I did it in the living room, and it's coming to like a storm outside. It's like real dark and spooky outside, which is perfect for the book we're going to be doing. But I didn't have any light, and then it got darker and darker, and by the end of the video you couldn't even see my face. Well, that might be a good thing for you people, but I don't like having my face not seen. But in this video, if you remember back, we did an episode of Buster's Book Reviews in Volume 3 by Stephen King called The Dark Half. Now, 10 volumes later, and fittingly at number 13, we're doing another Stephen King book called Bag of Bones. Now, admittedly, this was the first Stephen King book I ever read, and it's probably my all-time favorite book because you got the dark, you got the spooky, and everything, and it actually has a rare happy ending. And you know that's not very common with Stephen King to have a true happy ending. You know, he's kind of like Shakespeare. He likes to kill people, and a lot of times everybody's dead at the end. But in this one, it was really good. Okay, you got this guy named Mike Noonan. He's a writer, and his wife Joanna just died, actually from a brain aneurysm. He's identifying her body, and he's all bummed out. He's depressed. He's got writer's block. Then 4 years later, he decides to go to this cabin that they bought a long time ago called Sarah Laughs. Now, it's named after this African-American blues singer from the turn of the century named Sarah Tidwell. Well, he goes up there, and it's kind of like all these spooky things start to happen. And he thinks Joe's communicating with him, and he gets all these, the letters, like refrigerator magnets, but they're letters. And he starts putting them on the refrigerator, and they spell things out. So this is a pretty smart ghost. And also the first day he's there, he's just driving down the street, looking around, enjoying the sights, the end of town, and all of a sudden there's a little 3-year-old girl walking down the middle of the highway. What's up with that? He gets out and he goes to see her, and he's like, "Darling, what are you doing here?" And she says, "I'm mad as hell." And okay. But I think her mama wouldn't let her go swimming or something. I think she was in a swimsuit and had something around her waist or something. But then her mother comes and she's like, "Oh, thank you for saving my kid, I don't know what she was doing out here, and she thanks Mike. They introduce each other, and she introduced herself as Maddie DeVore. Now, she got this old grumpy father-in-law. He's old and decrepit in a wheelchair and feeble, and you just hate him. You learn to hate him. And he's also got this lady who she's described as looking like the face from the painting The Scream, but she's battled through cancer or something like that, but she's all pale and everything, but she's real stocky, I think, and I think she was an Olympic competitor or something. But you learn to hate her too, and I mean both of them. You just want to go and all that. But it turns out Max wants to take Kyra, who's the little girl, from Maddie, and he wants to take her in a custody battle because she's a widow. She was married to his son, and he's dead now. Well, if she's a widow, I guess you would figure he's dead. But now Mike hired this private detective and this lawyer to help her in the case. And of course, Max is he's this big, rich dude. He owns the town and everything, and so he can do whatever he wants, So he kind of corners Mike one day and starts running him over with his wheelchair and knocks him in. And I think he either knocked Mike into the river or Mike jumped in to get away from him or something like that. Like I said, it's been a long time since I read this. And Roget starts throwing these rocks at him and hits one in his head, hits him right in the noggin with one and busts his head open. And but he gets away from them. And as you go through, like I said, I'm going to put in the title of this that does contain spoilers. I hate to do spoilers, but I think I got to in this one. And it turns out they win the case, and Maddie gets to keep Kyra, and they all celebrate and have a party. But Max kills himself, and it turns out Roguette, who's the woman I was talking about, turns out to be his daughter, and she sends these guys to shoot up the party, and while they're having the party, a bunch of shots are fired, and I'll say somebody gets killed. You know, it's not Mike, so you got a 2 out of 3 chance of guessing who, and a lot of people get hurt too. But then Mike has to figure out, and like I talked about, there's also the blues singer ghost lady. He's been having nightmares about her, and it turns out that all these family members of families in the town, they have people that drown mysteriously, you know, and there's like this curse, and Mike has to go through the book and figure out what's going on along with the whole custody thing. So there's really like 2 different stories going on, but they do connect. And it turns out, I'm not going to spoil this for you, but it all connects to the blues singer and something really, really bad that happened. It's not good. It's really, really bad. And so you go through and you have to, and he figured that out. And then he has to help put her spirit to rest with the help of Joe, his dead wife. And then at the end of the book, after that showdown, you got something I think you'll like. It's really rewarding. But then, like I said, at the very end of the book, you got a happy ending, and I'm a sucker for happy endings, you know. Okay, and like I said, this is a very good book. It's my favorite all-time Stephen King book, and of course, I give it 5 stars. I also want to mention there was a movie made of this. It was a mini-series in 2 parts, and Pierce Brosnan played Mike. I thought he did a very good job. I liked the movie, but of course you're never going to find a book that's as good as the movie. The closest I've come is Odd Thomas movie based on Dean Koontz's book Odd Thomas. By the way, it's sad to hear that Anton Yelchin died recently. That was sad. You know, he was Odd Thomas pretty much, to me, at least in film form. They did change some stuff. Like, some of the differences was that Joe didn't die of an aneurysm. She's like, boom, got hit by a bus. And they cut out like the character of the private investigator and the lawyer, and Mike went at everything on his own, and they changed Kara's age like from 3 to 8 or something like that. And you know, some things are understandable, but you know, it's just hard to do a movie as good as the book. And But that's pretty much it for this review, and I'm going to try to get some more up. But like I said, I had to do some research on this because I don't want to go into them blindly saying, like, what's his face and who's it did this and whatchamacallit, you know. A lot of these books I haven't read in ages, and I usually only read a book once, you know. But, like recently I've been trying to do books right when I finish them, like I did Ashley Bell, which I'd only read like 2 or 3 months earlier. I did Chasing Fire by Nora Roberts right when I finished it, and then The Right Hand of Evil by John Saw right when I finished it. But that'll do it for this episode of Buster's Book Reviews. I had to redo it. I'm sorry if it's just me holding up the camera, you know. But like I said, the room's lighting was bad because it was like coming a storm, kind of coming a storm anyway. But for this episode of Buster's Book Reviews, have a good day and happy reading.